Hi guys, and welcome back to another Starcraft Remastered replay for you. This time, after all of the Starcraft 2 replays, I finally decided to cast more Starcraft Broodwar, and we have a quite interesting engagement from the South Korean scene once again, as we have spawned here in the upper left part in the red. It is only Star, but you guys know this is of course the AK from BISU, and his opponent spawned here in the lower left in the gray. It is Neox Hong 9, but this is also the AK from LARVA. So LARVA versus BISU here on a 4 spawning location map. Quite an interesting engagement, and yeah, as always we are going to be checking the build orders very soon from these two pros. It looks like BISU already moving out very early with his probe. Looks like he's heading for a fast expansion. No scouting yet for him, just probe out with pylon. Let's have a look at LARVA. Still no buildings for him. His overlord, however, is heading in towards a nice location, straight towards BISU's main. So yeah, BISU looks like very likely to continue with a gateway, with a forge, or is it going to be forge first? Let's have a look what exactly his plans are, or is he just going to scout the map? No, it's actually a gateway, and I believe you can fit a forge here into this location, as yeah, LARVA could of course be aggressive if his overlord is heading out now into this direction. Of course he's not going to show the overlord, he might transition straight into Zerglings very soon, as his spawning pool is about to get finished. So interesting here. BISU of course doesn't know this. He has sent out a probe very into the upper right part, and if LARVA is smart, he will not show his overlord. He will turn around and then just go straight for mass Zerglings. But yeah, looks like the timing from his hatchery is going to be the same with the timing of the overlord arriving here into this location. So he sees now the fast expansion attempt by BISU, and he decides actually to go for a hatchery. He could still cancel this hatchery and head straight towards mass Zerglings, but no such thing. And also at the same time he is showing his overlord. So with this he's of course also giving away his position onto the map. BISU reacting immediately, going out with his drone, so with his probe towards this intercepting drone, and a nice micro here by LARVA already dealing some damage. So BISU now knows where LARVA is heading. Still no expansion for him. He's just gathering some minerals, or perhaps you can see it in the production tab. He's actually making a zealot. Let's see if he has a forge. No forge for him yet. So quite interestingly stuff here, as gas has also started here from LARVA. The first Zerglings are also out for him, and we actually have a first move out here by BISU with a zealot and a probe against all of those Zerglings. But I think that LARVA should of course be fine here, as BISU is just showing his presence here to give more time for the expansion to evolve, give more time for his macro game. Nicely microing here his probe and not going towards the main from LARVA yet. And LARVA also nicely hiding an expansion here into this location. He can of course connect the expansions with some Nido swarms. And yeah, let's see what is going to happen. BISU of course, knowing this, knowing the timing from the third hatchery, he's scouting the map for any other hatcheries. In the meantime, we see that forge into this location. We also see the nexus, and I think I'm going to leave this one on just to have more info here onto the map, what exactly BISU is producing. You can see the production tab of course in the left part, just in case I am missing something. So let's see what is going to happen here. The third expansion is about to get finished here. Still this one overlord being left here behind. The wall of has pretty much been completed with many zealots for BISU, as the expansion is also about to get finished here, and we're also getting closer towards the 5-minute mark, as finally BISU will transfer some probes towards this location just to mine more from here. So yeah, let's see. Here we have the tier 2 upgrade for LARVA, so he might transition into some lurkers, he might transition into some Mutalisk. It could be Mutalisk of course for any Zerg. The Mutalisk harassment very strong into the expansion points from the enemy, and still BISU is just roaming around the map. I said I didn't see if he scouted this location right here, I missed it, and now he's also busy microing this one probe. But yeah, I'm very sure he did scout it, as he's actually sending out now all of those zealots onto the map. And let's see if he's going to attack into this location. We could see some sunkens behind here being placed by LARVA, as the action is still continuing here. I'm just going to click this off very quickly, as LARVA could actually get a good surround here against all of those Zerglings, all of the zealots. Sorry, yeah, the zealots do take some damage. BISU is microing them a little bit, but in the end it's pretty much a bloodbath here. Both players taking massive amounts of casualties. In the end, 2 Zealots have been left alive here with some Zerglings. And yeah, lots and lots of damage early on. BISU just suiciding those Zealots, but also dealing good damage against all of the Zerglings here from LARVA. So LARVA is not going to attack this location. There's one cannon here, it's enough for BISU. The wall of is completed with the 2 Zealots. And let's have a look. There we have a Spire being produced by LARVA. It's going to be indeed Mutalisk. Let's see if there is a starport. There is actually a starport here. You can actually see how LARVA is just pretty much scouting the whole entire map, just to have as much map control as possible with the Zerglings. Gathering now the Zerglings here in the front, he might prepare a full-on scale attack, but let's see if he's also going for a Hydralisk then. Yeah, it looks like the Zerglings are moving forward, but the cannon is here to protect the base from BISU. We also see weapons 1 for air and weapons 1 for ground here for BISU, as yeah, BISU has pretty much decided to turtle up here, adding another cannon. The Spire is about to get finished very soon for LARVA. LARVA not going for any Sunkens into this location. There we have the Corsairs scouting this Spire, and this is actually a macro hatch, so we are indeed going to be seeing massive amounts of Mutalisk. I believe it should be here for LARVA. So let's see the reaction from BISU. It's very likely going to be more Corsairs and even High Templars and even some cannons into these locations, as the Corsairs are still scouting the map for more Overlords. And yeah, BISU looks like once again he's going to move out, this time with better position for him with many Zealots, versus the Zerglings from LARVA is pretty much going to ignore them. Of course, there's 2 cannons here. 2 cannons can one-shot a Zergling, and BISU is moving out. Finally, there is a reaction by LARVA with a nicely placed Sunken, a nice SimCity by him, Sunken in the back, buildings in the front. We've seen this from good Zerg players doing, and there is no speed being operated here for the Zealots, so yeah, they have to pretty much read now. BISU pretty much is going to micro them a little bit, but once again taking damage, also inflicting damage just like previously. LARVA should of course be able to hold this with his Zerglings. And yeah, let's check his expansion once again. A nice Sunken once again in the back, protected by a Hydralisk then. So do we see some Mutalisks? There are no Mutalisks actually here, so we do see our upgrades for the ground units for LARVA. So LARVA could use the Zerglings in the front and actually deal damage with the Hydralisk from the back, so BISU could be in some serious trouble early on. Finally, speed has been upgraded for the Zealots. That's pretty good. He's moving out with the Zealots. He's trying to buy time. I don't think he knows about this Hydralisk then, and there's just a couple of Zealots here for him moving out, so very soon we could see a transition by LARVA into mass amounts of Hydralisk. Some Zealots do move here out. They will be very likely surrounded very soon by LARVA, so yeah, let's see what the plans from BISU are. I believe he's going to buy more time for his expansion. He might transition into some other units. It could be Dragoons with High Templar Storms, as the Corsairs still try of course to snipe as many Overlords as possible. But yeah, let's see what exactly BISU is going to be doing. The same thing from LARVA. I still don't see any Mutalisks being produced, only Hydralisk for him. Yes, some Overlords are pretty much exposed. I believe BISU is going to try to snipe 1 or 2. So LARVA has to react, of course, immediately pumping out more and more of those Hydralisk, as some Zerglings are also trying to get rid of this pylon and the probe here. So BISU just patrolling the map, just trying to kill as many Overlords as possible. We do see a Spire here, however, added by LARVA, and it would have been a suicide mission here for BISU to attack, as he's just roaming around and also protecting his expansion with some Zealots. So we have a nice macro game here by both players, as LARVA is also deciding to take his lower right part. BISU just patrolling the map, but yeah, those Overlords are nicely protected now by Hydralisk, by the Spore. I don't think he's going to inflict here damage, or is he? Yeah, he's just pretty much going to retreat. He could of course patrol the other positions here, but there's also scouts, Scourges patrolling here for LARVA. Will hold on all of those Corsairs. Could get some lucky shots here. A nice Spore. Let's see if it's going to be successful. And yeah, once again, so much damage actually. BISU with a great micro, losing 1 Corsair but dealing good damage towards those Scourges in the air, and finally being able to snipe one Overlord, and the next Overlord is also getting some good shots. So nice job, nice micro here for BISU, as he's trying of course to inflict more damage. At the same time, we see finally the timing push out happening here, but there's a nice Dark Templar here for BISU, scaring all of those Hydras away, and I believe LARVA is going to try to upgrade his Overlord speed, as he needs that very much in the front just to give protection towards only one lone Dark Templar actually being able to scare all of those Hydras away. So let's see, BISU still roaming around. Now finally speed has been done, and LARVA looks like he's going to try the push once again with the upgraded Hydralisk. Let's check their upgrades. One weapons upgrade. Let's check BISU. He should also have one weapons upgrade. More upgrades are happening here as more and more Hydralisk are being added by LARVA, and yeah, in comes LARVA once again, but we do have High Temper Storms in the back, and of course the perfect counter towards all of those Hydras, it is going to be the High Tempers in the back. But are there any High Tempers here? Not really, as looks like LARVA is heading towards this location that is nicely getting blocked here, but he needs to snap the Overlords in the back. Yeah, in come the Corsair, very nicely done here for BISU. There's so many Hydralisk on the ground, but there are also so many Zealots, actually massive amounts of Zealots here for BISU. As he has the high ground, he's buying some time for those cannons to shoot, so really nice stuff by him. I believe it's going to be suicidal here for LARVA to engage. The ramp is very close here, very small, and the cannons in the back would have been pretty much ready, as BISU once again tries to inflict damage towards the supply from LARVA, but it's just so many Hydralisk. And are we going to be seeing perhaps a transition into Lurkers? Lurkers will of course be very good versus all of those Zealots. Very massive amounts of Zealots here for BISU as he's moving out. Really very rarely seen. No Dragoons, just massive amounts of Zealots. So I believe a transitioning towards a couple of Lurkers would be necessary here for BISU, as the harassment is still continuing into this location. So yeah, BISU looks like he's heading towards this location, a very important location protected by two Sunkens, as all of those hatcheries are pretty much exposed into this location. But hold on, LARVA is actually reacting, moving out, sniping perhaps one or two Corsairs. Same time BISU looks like he's ready to engage here. The gap is very small. In come all of those Zealots. Great storms here, but a great micro by LARVA as well, and LARVA has to come back with his main force. A great block with his LARVA egg. So nicely done here by the Zerg player, as he's ready to push all of the units back. And now in come the reinforcements, so it's pretty much a mid grinder here now versus all of the Zealots and versus the Hydra. So nice kiting back and forward by LARVA with his Hydralisk here. Speed however is being done, and in the end both players decide to move back. We even have a shuttle now being brought forward. Could we see some reverse gameplay by BISU? It could of course be a possibility, as this one Overlord is likely going to be taken out, but also some Corsairs will take damage, as now the Hydralisk are pretty much surrounded here by BISU. So more and more damage is being taken by LARVA. At the same time we see that final transitioning towards those Lurker eggs. So it's going to be indeed Lurkers. At the same time we do have an engagement here, BISU nicely microing the units out of danger, and finally we see a transitioning towards Dragoons. So Dragoons looks like it's going to be the answer versus so many Hydralisk on the ground here from LARVA. At the same time LARVA comes in from the upper part, but there are Zealots to protect those Dragoons, and now I also see the Lurkers. So where is that observer for BISU? Finally one is being done, but he has to retreat. He needs vision of course against all of those Lurkers on the ground, as great map awareness here by LARVA just keeps on sending more and more of those units forward straight in towards this location that is being blocked by the pylons. At the same time BISU has to react. He might try to come in from the back, or is he going to go in towards a base trade scenario? The section here, the defense looks really strong by LARVA. Is going to bury now all of those Lurkers, but there is Sonic Storm, so LARVA comes in from the back. You can see it on the minimap as he's approaching with so many units to pretty much surround now BISU. He might take out the High Temper Storms first. BISU pretty much surrounded here, very hard position for him. Great Storms however just storming all of those Hydralisk here for LARVA, so great stuff by him, but at the same time there's just way too much Zerg, as LARVA just keeps on sending more and more of his reinforcements. Even Zerglings do arrive here, so quite nice stuff by him, as now he's going to try to surround as many Dragoons as possible. In the meantime the Corsairs try of course to deal damage against the Overlords, and then BISU nicely kiting those Dragoons back and forward, as he now has the high ground, but there's just so much Zerg. But it's important for BISU to know that He did leave the expansions alive. He is going to lose in the end all of his units, but in the end he has brought more time towards his expansion. This one is pretty much exposed, so he has to be careful. There is a shuttle, or there was a shuttle. It might have gotten snapped by some scourges. As things have settled down a little bit, both players just regaining their strengths and producing more and more of those units. BISU still tries, of course, to inflict more damage towards the overlords. Very smartly done, as this of course is going to force LARVA to leave some hydroids behind to defend, and now even the scourges are getting snapped. So LARVA is very likely going to take all of his overlords with him in order to attack, and now all of the scourges will very likely kill the Corsairs here, or are they? Just a couple of Corsairs are being left alive, as BISU now pretty much on the retreat with his Corsairs. LARVA regrouping his units. Are we going to be seeing some ultra risk? It is very likely here, as another Corsair is getting snapped and only one is being left alive. So this could be the starting point from LARVA to attack, especially the newly established expansion in the upper right part. Is he going to try perhaps a drop with all of those overlords into this location? We might see a drop ship, a drop overlord harassment, as now we even have Zerglings on the ground. Let's just check the upgrades once again. It's carapace. Very strange, because I could have said yes, indeed there are 2 weapons upgrade here, but let's see what those Zerglings can do. Not that much here, as I believe some dark swarm is missing here by the Zerg player. So the orange storm is pretty much, with the defiler, is pretty much the answer from LARVA versus all of the units from BISU. Let's see how this is going to continue. Still, the expansions are pretty much untouched here by BISU, so LARVA can focus towards his macro game, but at the same time BISU also nicely defending his expansion, especially the one in the upper right part, and yeah, just adding more and more of his units. And we actually see a surprise here by LARVA, adding 8 Mutalisk, so finally a great response. But there are cannons into the expansion points. However, BISU is going to have to bring some of his units back to defend against all of those Mutalisk, or is he going to try to go for a base trade scenario? His economy is going to very likely suffer. The Mutalisk will arrive here into the main. Some Corsairs will be here to answer. But yeah, BISU looks like it's just going to continue to move forward. There's so many lurkers being produced here by LARVA, and only Psionic Storm will deal, of course, massive amounts of splash damage. A great engagement here for BISU with all of the Dragoons in the front. The lurkers will immediately get spreaded here as more and more damage is being done. The reinforcements are pulling forward, and all of a sudden BISU looks like he's pretty much going to get surrounded, but he's answering, of course, with Psionic Storm. He needs more energy towards those High Templars, and lots of massive amounts of splash damage being taken here by LARVA, as the Dragoons are nicely getting microed here by BISU back and forward. Even one Archon giving good opportunities here for BISU, as the Archon in the front, of course, is going to deal so much splash damage towards the units from the Zerg. So yeah, more and more is moved here forward by both players. It's going to be some Zerglings as reinforcements with some more Dragoons here for BISU, as it's a pretty balanced engagement here, both players taking quite some casualties. This is going to be the victory here, as we still see actually Dark Templars now. It was a Dark Templar push here by BISU, even catching me off guard. So the shuttle with a nice surprise attack here, pretty much showing us the strength of only 2 Dark Templars with upgrades, 3 weapons upgrades actually, so massive amounts of damage for those 2, being able to snap this one hatchery and the spawning pool. So yeah, catching me off guard, BISU with a nice gameplay here, but his economy is also going to suffer here, as LARVA is bringing forward his Zerglings towards the higher part, towards the newly established bases from BISU. BISU responding with the reinforcements. There's even a lurker here, he's going to get spotted, but at the same time there's so many cannons. And interesting enough, LARVA is not going for a defiler, he's going straight for massive amounts of units. But yeah, he's going to lose those Zerglings, sadly for him. I believe the defiler would have been a great answer with Dark Swarm for him. Still, he is not deciding to go for that, as BISU is now moving forward with his Dragoons. Interesting enough, no Zealots. I don't see any Zealots for him. He just pretty much transitioning to mass Dragoons with High Templars. I believe he's going to use some of those Archons as defensive. And yeah, let's see, now finally we do see the fires for LARVA, but there are no Zerglings, there's just lurks on the ground, and there we have that Dark Storm. So with that, LARVA should be fine here versus the Dragoons from BISU. There's once again a drop here into this location. Many drones have been actually sniped, but still LARVA is at 55 drones versus only the 48 here for BISU. So yeah, BISU still not finding an answer against all of the expansions here from the Zerg. Finally is moving out into this location. Not that well defended here for LARVA, but LARVA with a nice trick once again, blocking the entrance with the eggs from the lurkers. As we even have a spore shooting at a observer, and let's see, yeah, BISU is nicely hurrying up here. He wants to kill those buildings as fast as he can, as he's going to snipe one Sanka left at the other, even dealing damage towards the high ground units. But the reinforcements are moving forward here for LARVA, and once again LARVA with a good position, surrounding all of those units, but BISU holds his ground. His reinforcements are moving forward. He's not even microing the units, so he doesn't have to. He's just on hold position and dealing more and more damage with those dragoons, and holding the position in the back with his reinforcements, with his dragoons, with his zealots. And there we have the GG. Actually, BISU being able to only push here forward to break the wall from the Zerg, from LARVA, and LARVA with a very late Defiler gameplay. I believe that has cost him pretty much the game here, as the dragoons will of course be not that good versus the Dark Swarm from LARVA. So yeah, and with Psionic Storm even dealing damage towards his own units to be able to take out the Zerglings and the Hydralists. So nice job here for BISU. A very interesting game. I believe LARVA had the upper hand into this game, but it looks like BISU with the last push and with his dragoons. And let's not forget, he had weapons 3 upgrades with 1 armor. So what a great game here by him against the 0-0 operated Zerglings. Yeah, LARVA did lose quite a large amount of Zerglings, especially here into the high ground. All of those cannons just shooting down the Zerglings, so no Defiler gameplay. Pretty much as have cost him the game. Let's check the stats really quickly. Once again, I'm going to be clicking left and right. Yeah, I really thought that LARVA had this game. The lurkers were really great, nicely spreaded, great defenses. His expansions haven't been touched, but in the end, yeah, BISU just proving a little bit too strong for him. And I believe LARVA, with a late Defiler gameplay, has pretty much lost. If the Defilers would have been early, perhaps he would have had a better chance, especially against the Dragoons. But yeah, Dragoons with high temper storms and just a couple of zealots in the back pretty much has won this game for BISU. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be seeing you for the next replays. This is Tommy signing out.